Well, we continue along on the college basketball preview show. Patrick Stevens is in studio with us today on GCR, and now in studio with us, he is the head coach at Morgan State. It's great to see Kevin Broadus, who joins us this morning. Good to see you, Coach. Thanks for coming by.
Great. Glad to be here. Good to see you guys.
Literally just off 695, like
Just
racing
off.
in the front door after coming back from the airport. So thank you for doing that.
All right, I know you're a D.C. guy, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Which traffic is worse, D.C. or Baltimore?
Atlanta.
That's a correct answer.
But D.C., no doubt, D.C. But, you know, with all the construction and bettering our roads, I'll take that.
Coach, one of the storylines that I've asked a few coaches this morning, and you certainly fall into this, when you have successful, talented players that prove it, it is never a certainty that you're going to be able to have those guys back, because most of the time when that happens, somebody's coming calling looking for those guys. How good – it feels like this is rare to be able to bring back the number of significant contributors, successful players that you've been able to bring back. I guess it's twofold. How good does it make you feel about this group coming in? And then maybe, two, what does it say about them that they did want to stick around and continue at Morgan State?
Then I'm going to add to it's threefold because, you know, having that experience, you like what you see and you like guys know what to expect from you. But when you had the season we had last year, you in the back of your mind, you think, oh, God, are these guys good enough? But I really think they're good enough, and I think these guys are working hard, and I think we're probably right where we supposed to be schedule-wise. You know, today's world is different. No one has patience, and I get that. You know, I've been in this business for a long time, but everyone wants to win today. I want to win today. The kids want to win today. Your fans want to win today. Your administration. But sometimes it takes time, and, you know, you don't factor in a lot of times all the intangibles, injuries now, transfer portal, and, you know, some of the other things, you know, academics, and it's a big scope. So for us, I like what we've put together. We have experience. We have experience at the guard position, which wins games, guards and forwards. And, you know, we lost our big guy. He went to Missouri State, but that's fine. We've added some really good pieces, and you know, the biggest key a lot of times is healthy. Who's healthy now? Who's healthy in March, April? That's the big thing, and who has bought in, who's playing well, and I like where we are right now. I'm not saying we're hopefully not a finished product, and I'm not going to come in and say we're burning the world up. We're not. You know, we're in progress, and I like where we're taking steps. We're taking steps in the right direction this year.
When we talked back in August or so, I thought one of the more interesting things you told me was you guys were looking to move Cameron Hobbs off the ball this season because you had Rob Lawson and you brought Pierce Shirkin to play the point. How has that gone, and how well?
Yeah. I just had this conversation with a coach at Georgia Tech yesterday about Hobbs moving him off the ball. Early on, I'm probably not going to have the luxury to do it. But at some point, I just want these guys like the Rob Lawsons, the Titan Newtons, the Pierce Sheiks to step up and, you know, move him off the ball because Cam is our best shooter. I mean, let's not play make-believe. He's our best shooter percentage-wise and in game situations. So, you know, I want to take that pressure off of him of thinking and playing and, you know, just play the game, not to think about you got to get other guys, you know, involved. But Cam is up to the task right now, and that's who I'm going to go with right now on the ball to start off.
So, you know, we referenced some of the players you brought back, you know, Winston and Will, and I can remember you being in here with us last year and how bullish you were about these guys. I imagine there's still an amount of that going into this year. I guess the question being, you have these players that you're so high on, it ends up being, you know, kind of middle of the road, right, in the MEAC a year ago. I know injuries were a factor. I know that was part of the story. Do you still feel just as bullish about this core group and what they are capable of doing?
Yeah, the experience helps. You know, 2-3 years together, the experience helped. You know, and it's funny, you listen to the guys when you walk into practice and they say, "Oh, he's on one." They know you now. They know what to expect. You know, don't come in with the, you know, this is It's all business. I always tell these guys the hardest class you're going to have all day is my class, and that's practice is just like a class. You got to treat it sometimes because you're teaching, and a lot of people don't look at it like that. And these guys, I always tell them, some days, we have tests, and some days you fail, and that's when you lose. And some days you have tests and you pass, and you get better. And that's the thing about this game. It's still a game, and it's a classroom as well. So, I like our pieces, like you say, the Wills and the Winstons, the Cam Hobbs. The guy that's taken a big leap for us so far this year is Amari, and Trent Edwards. Those guys have taken big leaps. So there's no days off in practice. I want our practice to be competitive, and these guys have really, really, really stepped up. And I tell you, Titan Newton has brought another dynamic, especially defensively for us, with the guard position. So, we have experience. We have a little bit of depth right now. You say that, and then the guy two go down, and
right.
We don't have depth anymore. So right now, I like where we at, and we still have that figuring out part in the middle. So we're trying to figure that part out.
I know you mentioned in passing some openings in the front court as well at this point.
In the middle.
The two guys I know you were very high about were Marlon Harris and Logan Shays when we talked over the summer.
Yeah, both of them bring a different dynamic. Marlon is a big specimen. I mean, when you see him, he's 6'9", like 240. I mean, he's big. He's body like Alonzo Mourning, and Logan is, like a 6'7", 6'8", under the rim, but he has the skill set that he could cause problems, and I like both of them. And we got a freshman that I really, really, really think is going to be Matar. He's going to be really good at some point, and I'm gonna bring him along slowly, but I'm gonna bring him along. I'm gonna give him get his feet wet.
Yeah, we're chatting with Kevin Broadus. He is, of course, the head coach at Morgan State. He joins us here on our college basketball preview show. Kevin, I referenced, like a year ago, you beat good teams, right? And then, unfortunately turned around and lost to some of the teams that I have no doubt that you would say we had no business losing to. What does it take to make the jump to going from good, competitive, to being the team that can break through and win the MEAC this season?
Experience and the know-how. You gotta, you can't take any nights off. That's the thing I've learned about this game, not just the MEAC. People look on their schedule and say we should beat X, Y, and Z, but they end up losing to B, Y, and G, and the guys can't look at names on the shirts. They got to play every game like it's the Super Bowl. You can't wait and overlook someone. You got to play these guys every night, and that's the thing with experience. I think these guys understand that now. I hope they understand it. I understand it. I've seen it. I lived it. So we have to go out and play hard each and every night and play smart each and every night. So there's no nights off. There's not a lot of teams in the country good enough to do that.
7 out of your first 11 at home this season. That might be
first time ever.
I was going to say, must be the first time in the Division I era at the very least.
First time ever for us since I've been here. The 5 years I've been here, and normally we're on the tour bus to across the country, and
all comers, right?
Yeah, and sometimes you have to understand your environment. You have to do what you have to do to make things work and make things happen for your program, for your institution, your department. But, we've been fortunate this year. We have games owed to us, and, we got some guys coming to us. But we can't take them lightly either. We have – I always say in my mind, the biggest game is the game in front of you, and then the next game that's in front of you. We're not good enough to look past anyone, home or away. But we welcome these home games. I think it would, help us, figure out who we are early.
Patrick has references with a couple of coaches so far this morning, and I know you have the Iowa State and Minnesota trip a little bit later on,
Mm-hmm.
but I remember a lot of Morgan teams that had like multiple West Coast trips over the years.
Yeah.
How intentional is it to try to limit the amount of travel?
I look back on it in the summer, and we just limped into conference play, and that's what I don't want to do. You know, yes, we have to go play the Iowa States and the Minnesotas and, you know, Bowling Green, Buffalo, North Carolina A&T for various reasons, but it gives us the experience too, you know, because these guys always say they want to play on that level, and it gives them a wake-up call if they can or they can't. And it's not about individual stats, it's about team play. How do we fare against those guys? So, you know, we want to take care of business at hand at first at home, and then we'll venture out to play some of these games. I think Iowa State going into the season is ranked top 5 in the country. You know, Minnesota's going to be top in the Big Ten. Bowling Green will be top 3 in their conference. And, you know, hey, no nights off when we play another team, the NCAA team, Longwood, early. So our schedule this year, I think, was strategically put together. Hopefully we can get some momentum winning. You know, that's the key to this.
And I would also think like that Bowling Green Xavier swing. It's probably one trip that you're staying out there for those.
Yeah,
you don't. Okay. Okay.
Right.
Well,
Probably.
the thought being that would be easier, like in terms of wear and tear, just to do that. So to be able to do that sort of stuff.
You reference, you know, a bunch of different reasons. I is one of them the fact that the MEAC is down to 8 teams. That like you have to schedule more games. You kind of don't have a choice, but you know, we got to get the games somewhere.
You have to get the games somewhere, somehow, some way, and they have to make sense, you know, from all kind of angles and areas. You know, these games, you just don't pick games to go play them. And, you know, we took a lot of tours, like we took, you know, out of the country, West Coast, and our guys, it sounds good, it looks good, but when you get to those places, you can see sometimes guys the way they warm up, just tired, jet lag, and you know. And I always tell them, you guys always say you want to be pros. This is what pros do, and you know now they see it, they get it, and we've had long discussions with the guys about it, and they get it. You know, sometimes it does have value sleeping in your own bed, so. That's the approach we took this year.
I asked this question legitimately not knowing, but it just seems like given your age in D.C., I asked Patrick earlier in the program about Gerard Mustaf, who we lost earlier this week, and it seems like that would be likely that was someone that you probably had a relationship with over the years.
Very, very good relationship with Gerard. Maryland guy, played at Maryland, went to DeMatha. A super good human being. You know, I know he had some trials and tribulations during the time, but most people do. Guy played professionally, had a great college career. But just a good person. Sad to leave this early, and plus he has family. You know, he has a kid that plays at Georgia Tech. You know, and one of his kids' parents I grew up with, and I can imagine just the tragic loss with going through that, and it's tough. You know, like I always say, we're all on borrowed time. You know, it's. You know, the man upstairs rents us out to the world, and he brings us back. So it was his time.
I appreciate you sharing with us, and I also had a chance to get to know Gerard and echo what you said about what a good human he always was, and I really enjoyed the conversations that I had with him.
Nice guy. I mean, just it was his time. You know, you can't negotiate with the good Lord upstairs when it's time to, So
a couple of home games next week to kick things off for your team, and it starts on Monday night against Frostburg State at 7 o'clock, and then Mercyhurst on Wednesday at 6 o'clock at Hill Fieldhouse. As Patrick mentioned, a lot at home to start the season, a lot of chances to get out and see the Bears, and of course we always like to highlight the local games. Towson on the 24th comes to Hill Fieldhouse to take on Morgan State. Coach, really appreciate you navigating your way through traffic in order to get over here and spend some time with us this morning.
Appreciate you guys having me, and look forward to seeing you at the game.
No doubt about it. Coach Kevin Broadus from Morgan State with us here on GCR.